You said you had some archaeological information that you wanted to give us.
Yes, thank you. There is information that has been out for a while, but suddenly it has been decided it's time to bring it to the forefront. And I believe that their intention for bringing it to the forefront is not only to confuse everyone, but to also distract. Because you know, many people are stepping away from the media. They realize what a circus it is and what a snow job it is. So now they're going to try different tact. And almost everyone is interested in history, okay? Especially this kind of history about the Earth. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles of underground tunnels underneath the Saudi desert, okay? That they go back thousands and thousands of years, and no one's really clear about who built them. There are the ruins of a huge structure that was built by giants. They know this in Death Valley in California, okay? That now they're starting to talk about again. Underneath Los Angeles, there are 25 to 30 miles of underground tunnels that according to the Chumash Indians legends, where the lizard people used to live. Okay, isn't that interesting? In the Grand Canyon of the United States, if you've paid attention to anything there about the Egyptian structures that they have found and statues, and the cave where they found the mummies and all kinds of artifacts that are now buried in the Smithsonian, how in the world did they get there? There are divers now, professional and amateur archaeologists going all over the Grand Canyon. Well, they have found tunnels underneath the water, and you can only get to them from underneath the water, where when they come up, they're in these huge caverns, and inside these caverns are ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics that are written in an Egyptian language that's been extinct for 3,000 years. Now, what's interesting about that story, okay, that's relatively new information, is that what were they doing here? In the book America BC by Barry Fell, the late Barry Fell, you know, he chronicles Egyptian hieroglyphics and things of that nature all over the East Coast of the United States. So what's interesting about that is in Los Lunas, New Mexico, there are the ruins of what looks like a temple or an altar. What makes this particular find unique is that on one of the stones, and I've talked about this in past videos, I don't know, 20 years ago maybe, is the inscription of the Hebrew Ten Commandments, the Ten Commandments, which was written in the ancient Hebrew Semaic language, or I believe it's Semaic, which has been an extinct language for almost 2,000 years, okay? And yet it's in New Mexico. So it could be the Egyptians were here and they landed on the East Coast or somehow got there, or maybe they were in Central America and then they came up here and they walked with their Hebrew slaves, and it could be that they camped in this particular area in Los Lunas, New Mexico, what is called now, and they left some part of their story behind in the Ten Commandments, and then they moved forward into the Grand Canyon. Now, it has always been believed, if you were to take Budge's books regarding the Book of the Dead and just throw them away, okay? But it has always been believed that in the Egyptian Book of the Dead, the ancient lands of the West, where the kings lived, the gods lived, is the United States, or what is now the American Southwest, which is why the Four Corners area, it's different, folks. The energy there is different. Has always been sacred to the indigenous people. Now, Along with that, the indigenous people also have legends of giants. And there are some interesting archaeological finds now where they're finding tombs of giants that have been buried 12, 15, 18 feet. There's one that apparently was discovered where the skeletons are 30 feet tall, okay? Jerry Wills, if I remember correctly, in the 2000s, had found some sarcophaguses or some caves that had the bones and bodies of giants in them. You know, and this is all going to be coming to the forefront here. And I think part of the story will be because of distraction, but I also think that it's important to note that we have had an amazing history, okay? We are not this chemical pool of chemicals that was an accident. That is such a crock of shit. Okay, it just is. We are genetic royalty. And if you can remember that, then you can approach the study of all of these things that are paleontology, archaeology, the geology of specific parts of the planet. You can approach it from that perspective, because now what you're doing from that perspective is you are discovering lineage. And that's important to know. Lineage is always important to know. It's always important to know more about the journey and who we were, who we are, and who we want to become. That's all part of the exploration of the soul, okay? Because we're acting it out in physicality. It's fascinating, okay? It's fascinating. And I'm telling you, if they were teaching some of this stuff in schools, you know, kids wouldn't be brain dead today. You know, they would have some genuine interest, you know, in school. But, you know, they don't teach this stuff. They want these kids to be robots, just robots, you know. And that doesn't work for any of us, obviously. Okay.
What race of aliens are the USA and Russia trying to recover in Antarctica?
Okay. Are you're referring to archaeologically? Who are they trying to recover?
I believe so.
Okay. Well, the remains of who is there. Well, first, let me just say that there are some living, and there are some and more who are not. The military is very active down there, and it's an international consortium of military. You have Anunnaki, Orion, Aldebaran, as well as Reptilian. Those are the groups that are there. Some of the physical bodies are both human and reptilian. That would be Orion. For the most part, that particular type of body type is strongly prevalent around the star called Lotess. But not everyone there is both. You can be human or just all reptilian. There are some who are hybrid that are a mix of both. Some of those bodies have been there for quite some time, thousands and thousands and thousands of years. We're not talking millions and millions and millions of years. Okay, that is just simply not the case. And there's, of course, the technology. And you know, there are several people on point of on this. The half-past human, Cliff High, talks a great deal about this using his altar reports. David Wilcock and others are also talking about this. That is part of some of the disclosure of our history that will be coming. How that is presented to humanity is a conversation that is ongoing because it has to be done right. But that information, that history, that technology is going to be introduced to humanity because it's time. And the structure that we have been living under, it no longer works. It can no longer fulfill the needs of humanity. Okay, it's done. So we have to make the leap. We have to make the quantum leap in order for humanity to be successful in the future. The idea of, well, we're going to maintain power and keep things as they are, and the only way we can do that is to kill 2/3 of humanity. That isn't going to happen. Okay, the benevolents are never going to let that happen. And to their credit, many of the lower management people groups that worked for the cabal also were not going to allow that to happen. So this is the option. This is what it is. It has appeared. It has come to humanity. It has been uncovered for humanity. The civilization that is buried under the ice gives us ideas. It can give us a blueprint for what we can do, a direction that we can move into to be successful, to live on the planet successfully without warfare and strife. These are all positives. These are all positives. There are some things that we have to worry about, such as ancient diseases and the such. And technology that can be not only incredibly wonderful, but also in the wrong hands can be incredibly destructive. So there is an educational process. There is a way of releasing the information and the technology and educating humanity on how to go from what we know to what we don't know. Okay, and it all has to be presented in a way that humanity gets it and embraces it. And this is where the mentoring is coming in. With these programs, these groups, because they have to change their perspective, because they're the ones who need to teach humanity how to use the technology, because they've been using it for these programs and in these programs. So it's not the flip of a switch. I wish it were, but it isn't. Okay, there is a genetically sealed blue sarcophagus 100 feet underneath the Great Pyramid in the Osiris shaft. It is surrounded by water, which is sizzling, which objects fall in it. What could it be? Would it look different in fourth and fifth density? That's an interesting question. Would it look different? Yes. Everything looks different in a different dimension for several reasons. One, its physical vibrational frequency would be different. And it would be lighter. We could maybe, if it were in fourth, maybe even in fifth, it would be so much lighter that we could probably see through it, and we could see what was in it without having to open it. Here in third density, of course, it's much denser. Everything moves much slower, and that's what gives everything so much more solidity, because everything is moving so much slower, the spin of the atoms. As to what's in it, I don't really know. I would not specifically think that it was a tomb, because the Great Pyramid was never built to be a tomb. My guess is maybe that it's the power source. You know, the pyramids were built to be power sources for the Anunnaki craft that would come in. It would put electricity, high energy frequencies in the atmosphere so that they could use their flying machines here in the atmosphere, like an electric car, okay? But self-generating, self-powering. That's what the Bosnia Pyramid is all about. It's the same type of technology. So I'm guessing that if that's where it is, maybe it's the actual power source. The water, or whatever the liquid is around it, could be there to keep it cool, could be there to keep it grounded. That's it. Again, it all depends on the technology. But I wouldn't think for a second that it's actually a tomb. I'd be shocked, because the Great Pyramid was never meant to be a tomb. It was never built for that. So, but that's an interesting question. Thank you for that.
What do the Arkturians look like? And I think later on somebody also says, what do the Lyrans look like?
Okay. I've not met any Arkturians myself, so I don't know for a fact, but I understand that some are human, some are aquatic life forms that are very high in consciousness. Some are bird-like as well, or God, there's a word. Not bird-like, but there was another word. They fly. They fly. They fly in the sky. So I'm guessing that the first group we meet will probably be humans that'll look very similar to us. And at the same time, they will introduce the aquatic to the oceans, because that's where some of the structures that need to be turned on also need to be fixed. They're in the ocean, so it would make sense that they would have a double approach in order to deal with the surface and what's underneath the water, because we don't have the ability to do that like they do. That's their habitat. That's not our habitat. And as far as the fowl, I don't know. The flying, the bird-like, I don't know. That's what I know. And I think there are people on the planet. I think there's one or two people who are contactees with Arcturus, and I'm sure that there's several people who are mediums who are in contact with. Maybe they can shed some light on those particular cultures, being more familiar with them than I am. So it might be time for them to come forward.
Regarding the A's, they have the knowledge to know that doing specific things in their frequency will constantly raise the vibration of their race. Can you mention a few of these things, please?
The expression of joy, the expression of love, the idea that everything they do is for that goal, is to experience love, joy, and unity with their entire race. They look out for each other, they see each other, and experience each other as family. So what's happened over multiple generations of them is that they literally, the entire civilization has become one entire soul group that moves together in harmony. It's like a huge flock of birds. If you ever see them flying in the sky and they're moving like this, they're all in harmony. That's how the race is. They all move in harmony. And it's because it comes from a higher place, a spiritual place. It is just the most healing thing you could ever see. I don't know how else to say it. They just so have their shit together. You know, they just so have their shit together. I mean, it's something to emulate, and I'm sure when, you know, we will be learning about that. We will be learning to share a consciousness of us, you know, truly living as one family, and actually learning to see each other that way. I mean, we talk about it here on Earth, but it isn't real. It's not real at all. It's just all talk. We simply don't know how to see each other as extensions of ourselves. We just don't.
I am another yourself. Why are the Andromedans interested in our DNA?
Sylvia. Buongiorno. Buongiorno, Sylvia. Because we're different. We are very, very different. And let me see if I can explain this to you. Everything is connected. Now, we think because we're in physical bodies, we're separate. But in reality, there's another part of us, our spiritual bodies, that is connected with everything else, including the universe, including other dimensions. Simultaneously, it's all going on at once. We just forget that because we're so locked in to a way of thinking. And that's really all it is. It's a way of thinking. If Earth, if our humanity, because of its unique DNA structure of 22 different races, if we could move from here, or where we are now, to a place in fifth density, the harmonic frequency that humanity will send out to all the races that are connected to us through DNA will change them as well, permanently. It's like you want to take down a building, okay, because it's unsafe, it's bad, it's horrible, it does all these terrible things to the environment. And you go into the building and you look at a key place where you could put the detonation so that that key place, that key pillar, will bring the entire building down. That's kind of what they're hoping we will do to all of these different regressive races. You see, we have the ability to shift their harmonic frequency, all of them at once, by just changing us. Do you get that? I know there's a word for it, but I off the top of my head, I can't think of it. But it's like we're the domino. We're the first domino. We can flip that first domino, all the others just fall, okay? And they all shift. They all shift. Whether they want to or not, they shift. Because we shifted their DNA harmonic. Because we did. Because we're all connected. Do you understand? We're the 100th monkey. That's it. We're the 100th monkey. We are a game changer. There you go. We're a game changer. And they know it. And so do the other races know it. So does the dark side. They know it too, which is why they're holding on tooth and nail, because they're so addicted to their place, their addiction to power and control over others. It's like they lost their own spiritual purpose so long ago that they have completely forgotten that they have the same abilities and powers we do. But they're so detached from it, it's so gone from them that they don't even believe it exists. So, if we flip, their DNA harmonic flips too. That's it. That's it. We're the 100th monkey.
Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you found it insightful, please like the video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon so you don't miss out on future updates. If you have any questions relating to today's video, please also leave them below. We read all the comments and take on board what our viewers have to say about Alex Collier's work. Remember, your support helps Alex Collier's knowledge and the messages from the Andromedans reach more people. If you'd like to support the channel even more, you can give us a super thanks tip by clicking the heart icon with a $sign. It really helps our team bring you more content. Also, be sure to visit alexcollier.org to sign up for our regular email newsletter. It's the best way to stay updated with the latest news, exclusive content, and upcoming live webinars. For the latest insights from Alex Collier, check out alexcollier.live. And if you want to explore over 250 past webinars, head over to alexcollier.tv. Thank you for being a part of this journey and supporting Alex Collier's work. We couldn't do this without you, and we're genuinely grateful for your support. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the vast mysteries of our universe. If you would like to see the Andromedan contactee Alex Collier live via video stream, we hold a live online seminar every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. For more information on upcoming live webinars, please visit alexcollier.org.